You're gonna tell me that my face looks ugly, and I don't wear makeup, but I know those things. So you don't have to tell them to me. So last week I had finals, so the weekend before I went to the bookstore and the library and got some books to read after I finished my tests. And here I'm going to talk about them, and I'm going to read some. From Paper Towns by John Green, which he's a guy on YouTube and he's amazing, and his brother Hank Green is also on YouTube. Currently John Green's on paternity leave. I know I should use both hands to make quotation marks. But yeah, he'll be back soon, I hope. He's had a wonderful son named Henry. But meanwhile, I'm going to talk about his book, because I've read all 3 of his books and I loved them all, but here I'm today. I'm going to talk about Paper Towns because, well, I loved Looking for Alaska. For some reason, this book really spoke to me. I don't know why, but I felt myself relating to Margot. She's about to start talking again, but I have to stop her. I guess I'm wondering if it was the place or the people. Like, if the people around you had been different. How could you separate those things, though? The people are the places of the people. And anyway, I didn't think there was anybody else to be friends with. I thought everyone was either scared like you, or oblivious like Lacey, and I'm not as scared as you think, I say. Which is true. I only realize it's true after saying it. But still. Paper Towns is a story of one all-nighter, followed by a series of clues, followed by a road trip, followed by finding the girl that boy named Quentin thought he always knew, but turns out is a completely different person. I really like this book because the idea of a road trip fascinates me, and the idea of leaving high school fascinates me even more. And the idea that sometimes when you find the person you're meant to be with, you just can't be with them at all fascinates me even more. John Green, you've written an excellent book. The second book today is called First Friend by Catherine M. Rogers. By the way, I don't have permission to be talking about those books, so I'm not being paid for them. I just read them and I need something to talk about. So here we go, because I read a lot and that's all I do apparently. Humans are bound by egotistical self-consciousness, and by their need to apply standards of rationality or sophistication, morality or social appropriateness. We find release in the company of dogs, who are happily oblivious to such inhibitions. Sigmund Freud normally would not sing because he could not carry a tune. While stroking his beloved chow, Jofi, he often found himself humming an aria from Don Giovanni. When we need to talk to someone, even though we know we have something significant to say, we can prattle on to our dog, and no one will not think we are silly. We caress and murmur sweet nothings to it without suspecting ourselves of mawkishness. We can reach out and touch a dog when we feel an impulse for physical contact, as we would never think of doing to a human. We can relax with dogs, as we cannot with other humans, except small children. The reason why I find this book so interesting is because although it is exploring the relationship between dogs and humans from the ancient world to the modern world, exploring the way humans interact with things also explores human nature itself. So I recommend this book the same way I would really recommend Paper Towns. The last book I'm reading I'm not going to go get because it's in the other side of the house and I'm really lazy, and also the lighting's bad. Do you see this on my forehead? It's called The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which I know is a movie and I know it's a book about World War II, but this is why I find it fascinating. I read Night by Eli Weiss as part of a project I did in middle school, and let me tell you, that book terrified me. I cried. It is so rare for me to cry when reading that it's just, to bring out an emotional response for me is kind of a difficult thing for an author to do, personally for me, because I'm just not a very highly emotionally responsive person. The reason why I find The Boy in the Striped Pajamas to be fascinating, because I do find books fascinating, is it's written from a 9-year-old's point of view, and something about adding innocence to the tragedy that struck an entire country really makes it something. Because there's a scene where the main character, Bruno, walks up to a fence and he meets a boy named Shmuel. Well, he's talking to Shmuel, the boy behind the fence who was in a concentration camp, which Bruno, the main character who lives outside the concentration camp, does not understand. The boy inside is mentioning he wears an armband with a star on it, and then Bruno mentions, my dad wears a red armband with a white circle in it and a design like this, and he draws a swastika. And he says it's very nice, and the boy inside the fence says, I understand that, but no one asked me if I wanted to wear an armband. And that's what struck me, is that there are certain things you can't explain without telling it from a child's point of view. Because a lot of people make jokes about World War II. They didn't study it. They don't understand what happened. And here's a boy who's saying the main thing for him is, no one asked me if I wanted to wear an armband, and I have to anyways. And believe it or not, that is a powerful statement. And there was this, those are the 3 books I read this last week. You don't have to read them, you don't have to watch this, you did because you're nice. And soon I'll learn how to make real vlogs that are interesting and people want to watch. Yeah! Please rate, comment, subscribe.